Adapting a manga into an anime can be a difficult task. Having to keep the feel of the author's intent, deciding what needs to be cut to make everything fit the runtime, and so much more goes into production. Getting voice actors, making a soundtrack, and having to animate everything allows for an insane production process. All that for a show about a vending machine? It's no wonder there are so many bad adaptations or mangas that have never gotten one, considering how much could go wrong. But very rarely, an adaptation does everything the source material sets out to do, and more. While this isn't achieved through high speed and flashy animation like other shows, I think K-On! Is one of the best examples of an adaptation done right. K-On! Was a manga created by Kakafly that ran from 2007 to 2010, with a total of 4 main volumes consisting of 57 chapters. The basic plot consists of a group of girls joining their school's light music club, and all of the shenanigans they get into instead of practicing. As for our main characters, there's Yui, our carefree and fun-loving protagonist, Mio, a shy and anxious bassist, Ritsu, an energetic drummer, Muki, a girl so rich the alienating idea of a normal life is fascinating to her, and Azusa, the youngest and most serious member of the club. At least that's what I can tell from the study guide. As much as I love this version of K-On!, I will admit it's definitely not as good as the anime. The manga is actually a 4-panel series, a structure mostly used for gag manga. While a lot of great stories use this format, K-On! Included, I think it can end up separating parts of a chapter and make the content feel less connected. I also think what's covered as a whole is less interesting. Don't get me wrong, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I can definitely understand why someone else wouldn't. But if the manga has all of these problems, what makes the anime so good? Same question I answered when I applied to Harvard. One of the attributes of the K-On! Anime that makes it so great is the animation. Animation benefits so many adaptations by the way it brings a story to life. But K-On! Doesn't use animation to its advantage like other adaptations do. It's not used for insane fights like in Jujutsu Kaisen or Mob Psycho 100. It's not used to amplify gags like in Love is War or Boshi the Rock. But rather, K-On! Uses its animation to mimic reality. Mio going from nervous to excited during her first concert, Muki sitting far away from the other club members but moving closer as she gets to know them, Ritsu double-checking the mail. The way these moments use visual storytelling to reflect reality helps make K-On! Feel genuine. Animation can also construct the mood of a scene. One scene might use more detailed and fluent animation to emphasize a particular moment, while another simplifies the characters to communicate a comedic nature. The way the anime communicates through its brilliant direction also gives us a glimpse into the characters. We see Mio's shyness as she tries to hide her notebook, Mugi's desire to fit in as she mimics others' actions, and Yui's airheaded personality as she rushes to school. Even the dynamics between characters can be seen in the way Mio reacts to Yui using an iron compared to Mugi. This idea of communicating what each character is like visually is furthered by the design of the girls' rooms, reflecting their personality. It's this simple yet effective visual storytelling that tells us what each character is like. It's little details like this that make the anime so brilliant, considering how much K-On! Relies upon its characters and what goes on with them. Each of the characters' tropes and personalities were present in the manga. However, they are much more prevalent and developed in the anime. One of the ways this development is achieved is through the content that was created for the anime. The manga ran for 4 volumes and 57 chapters, making it pretty short. The vast majority of that content is covered within the 13 episodes of the first season, leaving Season 2 of K-On! To be almost entirely original content. Certain episodes are set up to be more focused on 1 or 2 characters rather than multiple, allowing these episodes to delve into the personality of the character it focuses on. For example, the manga establishes Mio as the shyest member of the club. She eventually has to sing in front of everybody, much to her dismay. As the series continues, she naturally becomes more comfortable with singing on stage, partially due to her performing with people she's grown more comfortable with. In the anime, there's a part in the series where the girls' class puts on a play. Mio gets nominated to play the lead role, while Ritsu gets the other lead. Mio realizes how different this is from just singing in front of people and can barely handle it. However, by tackling the situation with Ritsu, she's able to overcome her fears and do a performance she wouldn't have thought possible otherwise. This arc focuses on Mio's journey throughout the series to overcome her shyness, while also focusing on her relationship with Ritsu. This new and original arc further develops Mio's character, which is something we didn't get as much in the manga. It's not just Mio. Each of the main characters have some sort of internal conflict that gets more attention in the second season. There's an episode where Ritsu gets discouraged from drumming because she's never in the spotlight. By the end of the episode, she decides to keep on playing the drums because that's what she likes to play. A realization that showcases Ritsu's passion and developing ability to take things seriously. Yui's struggle to find something to do with her life is expanded upon when she has to submit her future plans as an assignment. Azusa deals with her worries of being left behind in an episode where she spends the day without the other club members. Even Sawako gets an episode focusing on her struggle to keep her put-together image. Eventually, she reveals her hardcore nature and comes to better terms with it. Yet despite how important these developments are, they never change too much. They still keep the character's core identity, so much to the point that the changes are so natural, they even feel hard to notice at times. K-On! Knows never to change a trope too much or get too serious, because that's not what the show is about. Some of the more character-focused episodes reflect K-On!'s laid-back nature and are among the best in the series. One of my favorite episodes sees Ritsu and Mugi hanging out, with the focus character being Mugi. By spending the day with Ritsu, Mugi gets to experience normal things she wouldn't be able to otherwise because of her luxurious and restrictive lifestyle. Mugi spends the rest of the episode trying to experience more things that she may not have before, which leads to a lot of funny scenarios. Mugi rarely gets as much attention as the other club members, so this episode was such a great addition. It really was enjoyable seeing the way Mugi enjoyed trivial things like going to the arcade and seeing the show explore her dynamics with the other members of the cast. I think a big part of why this episode was so enjoyable is how familiar the viewers have gotten with the characters at this point. This episode is towards the end of the second season, which takes place during most of the club members' senior year. By this point in the show, we've become very familiar with the cast of characters and their personalities. As mentioned earlier, practically all of Season 2 is original content, including the previously explained episode. While Kyoto Animation could have done more episodes like this in Season 1 to help make each school year the same length, I think making the girls' senior year have the most episodes was a great decision. This allowed episodes to hit harder comedically and emotionally because how much time the audience has spent with the characters. Making Season 2, which takes place during the Light Music Club's final year together, the longest season, also fits with the show's theme of slowing down and having fun. Even from the first episode, K-On! Is a show about having fun with people you love. Yui's development more so than anyone shows this theme. When Yui first started in high school, she had no direction or interest in how to spend her time. She eventually decided to join the Light Music Club because despite their bad musical skills, the club members were having fun. As the show goes on, Yui finds her place in the Light Music Club, and along with all the other members, realizes that their enjoyment is what makes their music entertaining. This scene in episode 4 lays the groundwork of this theme. While it may just look like Yui playing guitar, the clever animation tells us otherwise. The emphasis on this moment of Yui playing guitar in the fireworks because she thought it would be fun makes it clear that she enjoys playing music. The shot of Mio's dumbfounded face signifies that this is why they're in the Light Music Club. The club members play together because they're doing something they love with the people they love. Even the time that the band doesn't spend together making music is important simply because they're together. K-On!, especially in the second season, has a big focus on slowing down and enjoying these times that you do nothing while you still can, because eventually, they will end. This idea is reinforced with a constant emphasis on turtles and put in the forefront as early as the first scene of Season 2. The scene's use of diegetic music that is heard by the characters as well as the audience, is different from before. K-On!'s diegetic music is typically reserved for performances. However, this is just a solo practice session. Not only does it show Yui's growth as a member of the Light Music Club, but it also brings our attention to what's on screen. This emphasis is also achieved by the change in colors, with the coloring being more faded and darker to give an almost melancholic feeling. The artistic and musical methods used in this scene draw our attention to what is essentially just another day. The girls are walking to school, Yui's playing guitar, but the music and color scheme make it seem more important than ever. It slows down and makes us appreciate little things like walking to school with your friends, because that too will end someday. Not only does this mentality provide a great and impactful theme for the series to follow, but also allows seemingly dull moments to be made meaningful. K-On! Has a small amount of things going on in each episode. There's rarely any drama at all, and the characters just live normal lives for the most part. However, it's these days that people want to remember. Days when you went on a trip with your friends, days when you went to a concert, or even when you put one on yourself. Even if there is little surrounding these events, they're important because they're with meaningful people. But eventually, people no longer have opportunities to make memories like this, so enjoy every moment that you still can. It's this simple yet powerful theme that makes K-On!'s episodes so enjoyable, the way it's able to turn days of nothingness into days that mean everything. A lot of people like to criticize K-On! Because seemingly nothing happens in it. To others, its lack of seriousness is what makes the show so special. The series is very episodic. There isn't some big goal the characters are working towards or a significant storyline, but that's the point. At first glance, these episodes may just look like filler, but they're the exact opposite. The episodic nature mixed with the theming of appreciating the limited time that you have allows every episode to feel like a necessary inclusion. K-On! Isn't meant to be a serious drama about the struggles that come with creating and playing music. Even when the show puts more of a focus on character development, it knows never to get too serious. At the end of the day, it's just a show about a group of friends trying to make the most of their time together, which they mostly do by just goofing off. The band element is only meant to connect the characters, and just so happens to allow for the greatest soundtrack in anime history. The show starts out with songs about cute nonsense, such as cake, tea, and ballpoint pens, because you can't have one without the other. But as the show nears its end, the songs take on a more meaningful role. They start to reflect the idea of treasuring bonds and experiences by expressing gratitude through their lyrics. You and I's lyrics focuses on the relationship between Yui and her sister Ui, and how grateful she's been for everything Ui has done for her. The song is also used when the girls put on a concert in their classroom to make one of their last days of school as memorable as possible. A similar memory is made with the club's final school festival performance. Even though the songs they sang were about rice, it was important because it was their last performance for the whole school. Afterwards, they reminisce on how much fun they had and how much they're looking forward to doing it again next year, only to realize there is no next year. Very rarely is an anime able to capture such a bittersweet feeling as the one in this scene, but K-On! Did it perfectly. The theming of gratitude in these final songs is perhaps captured best with Azusa's song in the graduation episode. Azusa is the youngest member of the club, meaning the rest of her fellow members graduate before her. Starting out, she always tried to get the rest of the club to practice instead of just talking and drinking tea. But once the rest of the girls graduate, she realizes that practicing wasn't the most meaningful way they spent their time, because not only is she saying goodbye to her friends, but all of the time they spent together. She understands that she'll never be able to get back the time they spent just messing around and doing nothing. The scene this song is played in causes even the audience to look back on these times. While it's obviously done by the lyrics, this reflection is more subtly achieved through the visuals. It shows us certain characters or locations that we may associate with a certain part of the show, and more interestingly, it parallels with a scene from the first episode. The shots of Yui and Azusa on the bench, the standing ovation, the picture of all the club members remind the viewers of when the light music club was starting out, but now it's coming to an end. What makes this scene so impactful is not only how it signals the end of these days to Azusa, but to the viewers as well. It gets the audience to look back on all the memories only to say goodbye. This all creates what is to me one of the most memorable scenes in anime as a whole. It is the culmination of nearly everything that K-On! Is meant to be. It's full of heart, gratitude, friendship, and simplicity. The same can be said for K-On!'s movie, another story introduced by the anime rather than the manga. Throughout the movie, Mio, Ritsu, Mugi, and Yui try to figure out what Azusa's song should be like. In the end, they decide to keep it simple and just do what they normally do. They don't need a song with an insane production value, which goes along with one of the directive ideas behind K-On! When asked how she constructed a sense of reality with her work, Naoko Yamada, who directed a handful of episodes as well as the movie for K-On!, answered saying, "To accept everything as it is." This directive philosophy allows K-On! To achieve what it's meant to be. It allows the series to be silly and laid back at times, while also opening the door for more serious and emotional moments to feel the way they should. All of this is to say, the scenarios and characters feel real. At least that's what the doctor wrote on Reason for Prescription. So many shows have characters that just feel like drawings with a couple of traits, but as for K-On!, each member of the main cast feels like people that we've come to know. Throughout the run of the show, we've seen the members of the Light Music Club grow, even if it was done rather subtly. We've seen them all get closer to each other in a way that feels natural, almost to the point of placing us in the club room in each episode. I've finished K-On! Multiple times by now, and even when rewatching it, I've never been more upset to see a show end. It leaves me with a similar feeling to that of finishing a Persona game, specifically Persona 4. While I didn't want the game to drag out, it was sad to see it end because of the way it makes you say goodbye to the characters. I was finally leaving behind characters that I spent the whole game with, who felt like real people with real struggles and real bonds. K-On! Invokes that same feeling, but it's not done through an avatar controlled by the player, but rather the genius writing and direction provided by the staff at Kyoto Animation. While it's easy to write K-On! Off as just a simple brain-dead show about girls in a band, it provides much more than that if you are willing to look past it. So much about the series felt so real, from the characters and their conflicts and feelings, to the significance yet simplicity of the show's themes. It's this strong, but albeit short-lived, sense of reality that makes K-On! One of anime's greatest Adaptations.